Good evening, friends. Starting the last session of the day today. I hope it's going to be interesting, but it's definitely going to be different. Mr. Engineer is already a story, I like to call it, zero to hero story. So give him a big applause in the first place. He has already done half the job we were proposing to do here by setting up an agenda of what can be done with no resources, with tremendous amount of roadblocks, some impromptu, some deliberately planted, some intentionally put in the place, but with what I call the story, I've given it a Hindi name, Dhyaya. With a Dhyaya, focus, he used the word focus. I would like to call it Dhyaya, Dhyaya in everything in life. I think what can be achieved, you have seen an example of a real life story. Having said that, we need to look at the current scenario because there are roadblocks in the current scenario, and we need to look at those roadblocks, and between Archana and I, we will go through these this presentation very quickly in a very brisk manner, because our idea is to focus on what we should be doing to overcome these roadblocks rather than focus on the roadblocks themselves. So obviously, you know that the first slide is like a surfer. You know, when he's on a downward cycle of the wave, he feels as if the whole world is going to be going down under the sea. And when he's on the upward path of the wave, he sees the sky, and then there is no limit how far he can go. So this is all up and down in economic cycle is part of a life story. I want to remind you, Guzra hua zamana aata nahi, aata hai dobara. I am borrowing some of Jayesh Bhai's Hindi poetry. Do you believe it? Interesting thing about Thursdays in 2013. Did you know this? 4th April was a Thursday, 6th June was a Thursday, 8th August was a Thursday, 10th October, 12th December, all were Thursdays. And you will not believe it, but in 1991 also, the same dates were Thursdays. Same festivals were all also on the same day, at same date, in 91 and in 2013. कौन कहता है गुजरा हुआ वक्त वापस नहीं आता? Enjoy the year 1991 in 2013. You have the same gentleman in charge also. What happened in 1991? There was 5% growth in GDP. We are back to 5% growth in GDP in 2013. The Indian coffers were short. We sent so many tons of gold to Bank of England in 1991. We are almost about to do the same thing now. There was a proposal to pledge gold and take the growth given by Anand Sharma. Dalmia is back in BCCI. Narayan Murthy is back in Infosys. Corporate world is also not beyond this. Nawaz Sharif is back in Pakistan. 91, remember? And my favorite, Madhuri, is back in Bollywood. So what is the difference between 91 and 2013? But do you remember what was 2000 and what was 1991? How bad the situation was? And we are about to see that situation in 2013. Over to Archana.
Turbulent times, am I audible? Yeah. So winning in turbulent time, that kind of introduces the topic that we are going to, the kind of depths we are in, the kind of deep trouble that we are in is known to everybody. And a lot of people have spoken about, okay, I'm not doing well, blame it on the government. I'm not doing well, Chidambaram is responsible for my plight. But today is not the day and the forum. If you would have had a government representation, probably me and Mr. Sheth and all of our core team would have made this workshop in a very different way, where we would have voiced the concern. But this workshop and the starting of it is all about finding solutions within this group, within the value chain. But before that, we have to find how deep is the trouble, and I think fall of the rupee, which has been discussed so often now, is one of the falls where, as you see in the caricature, our Prime Minister is trying to find how deep it is. The next slide, please.
So the key challenge, friends, is judging the length, the depth, and the pervasiveness of world's current economic travails. Discovering the bottom. Where is the bottom? You remember Mr. Manmohan Singh is sitting so far away, he doesn't even know where the bottom is, or where the bottom can be reached, he cannot see it, right?
And this is an interesting one. Again, from all of our favorite cartoon strips. Before this.
Next.
We have read that. Okay, have I?
Sorry, no, I cut it. I cut it. Just go next.
You cut it? Okay. Okay, you want to cut right later. Winning in turbulent times. Okay, before I read this disclaimer, this workshop is also about a lot of disclaimers. I must say that this workshop we had devised in a very, very different way. None of us have rehearsed about it. So there are going to be glitches. So all of us who are probably looking very, very perfect till now will do a lot of mistakes. So pardon us for that. And I speak for both of us. So winning in turbulent time, probably this is a formula. VUCA world, where V is a velocity. We now live in a VUCA. Am I pronouncing it right? And U is for uncertainty, where the world is surrounded by black swans. This is normal. C is the complexity, and A is the ambiguity. I think this kind of summarizes the times we are living in.
So we are going to live in the VUCA world. And there is a counterpoint to this VUCA world, and that is recently in an article in The Economist, it's come that the emerging market slowdown is not the beginning of a bust, but it is the turning point for the world economy. You are at the bottom almost, and now there is a turning point of the world economy. But there is a caveat. Over the next 10 years, emerging economies, includes India, will rise, but more gradually. So your 10% kind of growth is now no longer that aspirational.
Yeah. And we've all heard about all the BRICS, and we went very, very happy, celebrated. We were the BRIC world. Probably some of it was right, some of it isn't. Now we hear that the BRIC countries have been redefining, but now while we were discussing BRIC, now is the N11, which is Bangladesh, Iran, Indonesia, Pakistan, Nigeria, Philippines, Mexico, South Korea, Turkey, Vietnam, and Egypt. So you now see the competition can come from anywhere. It might just hit you from the bottom, it might hit you from the top. And probably the jargons that we are so used to holding on to, because a lot of businesses put their bricks around this BRIC formula that everything is going to come the India way because it's part of the BRIC. But in reality, we have seen that it was not such a big transformational thing, which now is replaced by N11, and India is still looking at its opportunities.
It is also to be remembered that apart from the potential threat, these new 11 economies, which are the fastest growing economies currently, also pose opportunity for each one of us. And we need to examine all our export efforts, are they directed towards these countries or some other countries? New age of scarcity. This is again another issue that is raised by Harvard Business Review. Aftershocks of global recession will be long-lived. Citizens and governments will become increasingly frugal. There is a very clear message here for IPMA. Citizens and governments will become increasingly frugal. Don't expect subsidies, don't expect concessions, don't expect things, even if it was done for other industry segments, because simply the coffers are empty. There is nothing to be given by way of doles to anybody else. Growing affluence of consumers in emerging economies will place increasingly heavy burden on already strained supply of energy, water, and other resources. Remember the statement of George Bush, there is a global food shortage because Indians are eating more. The way it was said, politically wrong, but it was economically exactly what is written here. It was a correct economic principle presented in a wrong fashion.
So if these are the realities, then what should be our response like? What should we be doing when these are the realities? So our response to the situation should be more for less for more. And that is what we are going to speak about in some time as we discuss the problems and the solution and the prospects that come out of probably which we think, like Mr. Engineer said, that the biggest disruption in his business was the biggest opportunity that he found himself to be the leader that he is today. So more for less for more performance, experimental value, experiential value, less at the reducing cost, more to benefit more people.
A lot of things were discussed about research and development, and when in the morning a question was asked, how many of you have a formal research and development program, I don't think a single hand went up. Did it? But I think it is very, very important. Another presenter said that his company spent 5% of their turnover on research and development. So I think this is going to be very important. Beg, borrow, steal is not going to be the order of the day tomorrow, in the future. Developing your own product is going to be the future. And we also saw that in the last presentation, how pipes developed with different know-how in the country were commercially successful.
So if that is the reality, and we were speaking about India being at the bottom of the pyramid, that India is probably catering, is still positioned as a low-cost market, but the N11, the new 11, already is defying that. Which is to say that probably you have competition from the other markets which are also low cost. So what do you do then? You have to rise up the ladder and be a little more, add intelligence into manufacturing. So tomorrow's world belongs to those who create, nurture and own intellectual property. And that is to say that you have to invest in R&D, we have to invest in innovation. Like Sanjay was telling us that you have to take some part of your earnings and invest in the future.
We heard about this intellectual property this afternoon from one gentleman who has already registered 2 patents, as I know.
Mr. George. Yeah.
And I would like to hear from Mr. Engineer what is his thoughts on registering patents of some of his products after the session is over. Disposal of underutilized assets. We all sit on assets which are underutilized. We must get maximum benefit out of every rupee invested. This may be excess land, excess building, excess machinery, excess people, excess material, excess of many things. And I think we now need to become really lean and mean. And we have to find ways and ways of removing these, converting them into cash.
So I'm very happy that this session is happening probably when we have heard all the good speakers. Probably each of our speakers have touched upon these important points where we spoke about how you have to disrupt yourself probably to make sure that you're ready for the future. And if that is the case, you have to know what the future lies. You have to invest in future and removing the underperforming areas. So you have to do the surgery, not amputation. And that there's a bigger lesson in this simpler sounding words.
So very important thing for you to decide what business you are in, what business you do not want to be in, what markets you are in, what markets you do not want to be in, what products you are in, what products you do not want to be in. Both are equally important. And you need to take very clear and professional decisions in this matter. Next, there are a lot of hidden costs on logistics. I think a lot of us do not pay in India a lot of attention to this. More weakness on infrastructure means more cost on logistics. We cannot do anything about infrastructure, but we can do something about logistics. Focus on logistics. It will save you maybe 3 or 4% of your turnover.
and talent. I think that this is the most underutilized asset that we have in any organization, in any company, and probably herein lies the key for our success. Investing in the talent, making sure that they are nurtured, making sure that we spoke about leadership, making sure that we give free hand to young leaders, and take away some of it, and so that you can be the leader, you can strategize where somebody else is working, say, in a shop floor. So how do you manage your talent? How do you nurture your talent is going to play a very big role as we go forward.
Planning. Somebody said it's very difficult to plan and look into the future, right? It's like putting your hand in hot water, somebody said. Yes, it is true, no question. But at the same time, planning is required, because planning gives you a sense, forces you to give yourself a sense of direction. If you do not have a sense of direction, you cannot plan. If you do not have plan, you do not have sense of direction. So planning is a must, but at the same time, you have to remember that the change is also extremely frequent. We saw the world is very complex, very agile, very uncertain, very volatile. So changes are going to happen much, much quicker than they used to happen before. So be ready to tweak your plan, operating plan every month. So make a plan, long-term plan, but be ready to tweak it every month in order to respond to the changing circumstances in the external environment. And for that, you need to be flexible. You need to be flexible in your managerial response. You need to be flexible in your production systems. You need to go for single piece part flow rather than say, okay, I'm going to produce, once I load one set of mold, I'm going to produce X quantity and no less. I think all those equations will have to be re-examined.
So there's cream in eczema, as they say, and the eczema also has the potential of turning around our success, our stories, and our potential as well. But eczema also has too many disclaimers in it. A rupee crashes and so does our dreams. So it's very, very important to have a very strong eczema policy. And you have to become net foreign exchange neutral. That's the first phase. And then you have to become a net foreign exchange earner. That's the phase 2. It's about direct and indirect import content.
This is the only way you can protect yourself against violent fluctuation in the value of the rupee. And if you think you are not importing something, then you are very much mistaken. Yeah. Oil has got many, many ways to make a hole in your pocket. Not just the direct import of yours, but also your vendors, your raw material suppliers, everybody. This does have an impact on you, and therefore you have to calculate that foreign exchange outgo and neutralize the negative effect of that. Think local and act global is the new slogan. Not think global and act local. It's a very subtle play on words, but what it means is that you must be globally leveraged and remain locally relevant. So you must be a McDonald's burger the world over, and you must still be able to provide a veg tikki in India. That is exactly what is called locally relevant and globally leveraged.
So you make the market and you break the market, you make the price and then you destroy the market as well. As an industry, as an individual player, these are two different things. As an individual player, you are only looking at your costs, your profitability, your bottom line. But then as an industry, how are you looking at things? How are you looking at market? Are you the one who's destroying the market best practices? Are you the one who's lowering the cost? And probably when you lower the cost, you are somewhere pinching that penny. That is why you will be profitable. So that's a very, very pertinent question to ask. And it's again a point that we are going to discuss in the workshop. We are just trying to bring all the points when we say that price discipline is extremely important. Not selling below threshold level should be a discipline.
Compete against imports, not against domestic competition. Particularly when the rupee is weak, it makes even more sense to compete against imports. So
actually defined what he is and the success of what he did later in life. It's extremely important to know what your customers want. You cannot sit in your own thrones and decide that this is my product offering, take it or leave it. So getting customer focus extremely important.
Collaborate to share risk. You can compete with another processor in the marketplace, and in the backside you can even cooperate with him. There are many areas which carry no rocket science, which carry no secret, no proprietary knowledge stamp on your efforts. There are a lot of areas in which you can cooperate together. There are examples of this in other industries where competitors have come together to buy a common part from a common source abroad and negotiated the price together and got a much better deal. But in the marketplace in India, with the customer, they were competing. So you have to find your own internal avenues to cooperate. And my very strong recommendation is for IPMA to take this kind of a game-changing lead in this respect.
Yeah, staying with lead, I think leadership is not about making sure that you just look good as the business is growing. You have to make sure that you are creating, you're planning, acting, checking, doing, and more than this, you are creating newer avenues for yourself and for others. You are capturing a space which was not there. Like yesterday, we spoke so much about leadership. You have to catch that rabbit, decide the color of that rabbit whom you're going to chase, and also making sure that you're not losing any inch. And that is what true leaders are all about. And this forum is, I think, the best forum where we have to drill down on each one of us that as a leader, we have to gain, we have to give, and we have to also capture newer avenues.
There is a book, Playing to Win, by a gentleman who was the retired managing director of Procter & Gamble. He says, what will not work in the future? What will not work is a do-it-all attitude. And I think today you have enough examples of this as to why you should focus on your business goals. Failing to exercise your right of choice is one of the worst things that can happen to your own organization. Or as a leader, that is one of the worst things you can do to your own company. Or attacking strong competitors, again, is a mistake. Pick your battleground where you have the maximum chance to win. Something for everyone will no longer work. You have to again focus on segments of the market that you want to attack. Aspirations are not strategy. You can have dreams, you can have visions. It is very essential to have them. But at the same time, we must not confuse them with strategy. We must have the ability to convert that vision into a strategic platform for our companies. And if your choice is what everybody else also chooses, then you are fighting the same game that everybody else does, and you do not create a differentiator that our branding guru just now taught us, that without a differentiator, you're going to die.
So like Mr. Engineer was saying some time back, that when you are in trouble, you don't remember all the good words and the jargons that probably some of the leaders must have said. So it's important to keep it simple. Streamlining processes that have direct impact on our customer satisfaction is very, very critical. Making it simpler for our customers to do business with you is again it is also to say that you have to understand what they want and deliver what they expect out of you.
Strategy. Very important thing is to have absolute clarity on this single issue of strategy. Are you clear about your winning aspiration? What will enable you to win in the competitive marketplace? Have you decided where you can play and where you will not? Have you determined how you will win where you have decided to play? What are the tools, what are the weapons that you will employ? Have you identified and leveraged your core capabilities in where and how to play? Do your internal systems and key performance measures support your strategic choice? So making a strategic choice, preparing your battleground, making your plans, possessing all the tools, and then having key performance measures in place to review how far your strategy has been successful.
And finally, let us not extrapolate the last 3 months to eternity. In volatile world, things change rapidly, even for better. Example, same time last year, US was facing fiscal cliff. Today, US economy is severe driver of global growth. Will the same story repeat for India? Probably that question is for all of us to answer.
So, we should not do what Shailesh Sheth is doing here. Put our head in the soil and say, okay, I will wait for better times to come. That is not something that we want to do. Okay. So, these are the background on which we will now build the session that is now going to follow.
Yeah, and to do that, to help us to do that, we would want to invite our facilitators. But even before I do that, there are, like I said, this workshop is going to have a lot of disclaimers and we are just putting it out there for all of us. One, in this workshop, the action is not here, the action has to be here. We will just mobilize. In fact, after some time, we'll be sitting with all of you. So please do not mistake that you are going to be the audience, because it is for all of you and it involves more of an industry and less of preachers. It has to be about you. Two, when any one of us, be it me and Mr. Sheth as moderators or the facilitators who are going to represent each aspect of this industry, we should not take it personally, because they are doing a job of representing your industry or a segment of the industry. Let it never be you versus me. This workshop is about solutions, but there are some tough questions that need to be asked. And I will agree, and I'm sure all of you will agree with me, that the first step towards solving a problem is to acknowledge it. If we do not acknowledge a problem, we'll never be able to solve it. So yes, there are some pricks and some problems. We are going to talk about both. But the good thing is that we as a group are also given the task of finding the solutions. So we have 4 facilitators, and 2 of our colleagues are going to make sure that they mobilize all of you to get in. If you see, you have a positive and a negative mark here. Can everybody see that? Yeah. So it is to say that at any given point, none of us will either take a negative stance or positive stance. But whenever I have to take a negative stance, whenever I have to talk about something which is not happening, when I say negative, it means it is not happening. Not anything which is bad, but something which is not happening, a need gap. I will be speaking from here. Is there a negative here? Because I can't see. And sometimes I have to talk about or counter that negativity with positivity, which is a solution to a problem. We will go there. We have 2 people who are also going to facilitate. Bhavna and Shweta, can we have you here for a minute, please? As you both know, Bhavna and Shweta. Shweta is part of the editorial team of Network 18. Bhavna, you all know, she is the face of UNIDO for plastics. So these 2 girls are going to represent, Shweta is going to represent the negative side of it, where anyone who has to speak about a problem, she will be representing you and she'll be going to you. And if you have something which you don't agree, or if I'm saying everything is all right about plastics industry, is going great guns, there's no problem, and Dr. Gaur has a other point of view, he'll say, Shweta, can I have the mic, and she will call, and probably she'll also add to what you are saying. Anything which is a plus is for Bhavna. Anybody, if I'm saying something negative, or Jayesh Bhai has some comment to make which is not so positive and is about the need gaps, and somebody believes that no, it is not right and this is the fact, and because it's a positive, you have to call Bhavna. So is that clear till now? Is that clear till now?
Yes.
Okay. And then we have our 4 facilitators. As I call them, please come on stage, gentlemen. And yes, as I said, it's good for our heart to clap, so please keep clapping. I'll again want to invite Mr. Sanjay Jain, Business Director, Engineering Plastics at DSM. Mr. Jayesh Ramriya, Managing Director, Premsons Plastic and Immediate Blast President, IPMA. Mr. C.P. Bhartiya, he is the Managing Director, Jagdamba Polymers and Honorable Secretary of North Orissa Chamber of Commerce. And again, Dr. Subhash Chandra Sheth, he is the Deputy Director, CIPET, Ahmedabad. A big round of applause for all 4 of our facilitators, because they are going to be driving this whole conversation. So, sir.
All the observations, panelists and the audience, we have to do time management. This is the last session of the day. Everybody wants to do shopping, enjoy Goa. So please
come back.
Try to keep your observation very short, crisp and to the point, and one observation at a time. Not 3 points and then say 1, 2, 3. No, one observation at a time. We would like to take a large cross section of the people and their opinions in and put them to the panelists and make the panelists respond to them. So please keep your observation short, crisp and a single one.
Yeah, so the first question, as I was saying, to ask is, are the processors future ready? And there are always going to be point of view and there are always going to be contradictions. So I would now call Mr. Jain and Mr. Rambia to take up the podium and quickly give us your stance as to why you think the aspirations. Mr. Jain will be talking about the aspirations that the processors must keep, which is to say that this is how a processor, a plastics processor and the value chain should think in these times, given all the realities that we live in. What are the aspirations that you can keep? And today we can also not say, after listening to the kind of the growth, 45% growth that we just saw, that there are no success stories happening. So yes, there are success stories, few, but there are. So he's going to talk about the aspirations the processors must keep. And Mr. Shailesh Rambia is going to talk about the problems that plague the processors. This is to say that he is going to talk about the realities, that if Mr. Jain says that this is how you should think, Mr. Shailesh Rambia can say that you don't understand about my realities and these are the realities. Having said that, he can also come here and talk about the positives. So, may I invite both of you to take the stage?
Can I say that Archana and I now are going to defect from the stage and become part of the opposition party. I will be representative of the audiences.
The only thing we have agreed here is to disagree, and we are going to disagree as a rule to each one of us. Please take it sportingly. Please enjoy it as a sport and please participate. Otherwise, we look like we are performing a skit. So over to you guys. It's working.
Hello.
Back.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what to say after listening the speech of Mr. Engineer. I think I mean he stole all my points, or rather I would say I want to speak in his line. So about the aspirations the molding industry should keep, and I had prepared 5 points on it. But I think I can now summarize in 3 because I think nobody remembers more than 3. So I will talk about 3. And I think the first thing, what I want to mention is about, again, Mr. Engineer said it loud and clear, is about management attention or the mindset of the management. I think that what I see is the aspiration the processing industry should keep. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is today, you know, if I talk to many processors, they think from a resource constraint point of view, which means इतना ही पैसा है, गवर्नमेंट का ये प्रॉब्लम है, लेबर मेरे को ज़्यादा कैजुअल पे रखना है, I don't want to grow my company beyond 1.5 crores because I have to pay more taxes, blah 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 blah. Less attention on where is my customers going, where is my market going, what can I do different there, do I have the right products, have I invested in the right technology. So I would say selecting what is my rabbit. So maybe I repeat few of the things which have been said earlier, but I think it all starts with that. Having a clear objective in mind, why I am in business, where am I, what is my surrounding, and if I have to go somewhere, what is my strategy. I think Mr. Sheth reinforced that point once again. So that's my point number 1. The second point is more, I have a strong background in sales and marketing, so I came from there, so you would see a lot of innovation, customer focus. So that's the second point, is about addressing niches in the market. I mean, in any business, you will find businesses which are, or what do you call it, which fill your factory, as I call it, filler business, and businesses give you money. Businesses which make money. I mean, I was talking to Hiten Bhai earlier, and we were talking how does he still doing well in this rough time. What he did exactly was finding niches and owning those. Mr. Engineer talked about selecting your market, going after it, reaching a certain leadership level, then going on to the next one. That's what I mean by niches. So we are in plastics. There's a lot of negative image about plastics. But have we thought about utilizing positive side of plastics? And yeah, I think it was you who said he has a jeans which is made from PET. Yeah? I think it was Sudanva. You said you bought a jeans?
Yeah.
That's exactly today consumers are becoming very aware. And I can tell you, younger generation are even more aware about you and me. 1 month back, I was invited by Symbiosis School, which is the school which my daughter goes to give a speech on about plastics. And the questions I got from the kids, there were some questions which were like, Uncle, don't you feel that, you know, plastics are not recyclable, you're doing bad for the environment. How can you work for a company like that? I said, shit, this is straight. And then, of course, I gave positive examples. So, but how many times are we using sustainability as a business driver? How many times have we come out with a dabba, people who are in the consumer business, which has some angle of sustainability or environmental friendly for the kids to make their choice on? Today, they just make their choice to see the sticker, whether it is Teletubbies or whether it is Chota Bheem, and they make the choice on that. Why can't we exploit that side of the business? That's where I talk about niches, sustainability, part of it. The third point is all about people. It's all about people, where I would say not by intent, but I think by the rules or whatever, people are more in the nature of exploiting human manpower rather than investing or making use of manpower. And I think that's, Mr. Engineer also mentioned about the biggest struggle you see is human capital. Me working in a multinational company, also I face the same issues. How can I keep we pay the best salaries, but the young guys have aspiration. Before I did my first job, I did the same job for 6 years. Now I have people coming to me and saying, 3 years, boss, 3 saal ho gaya, ye kaam kar raha hu. I said, so what, bhai? He says, I need a change. How do I keep such high ambitions? And my HR guy tells me, Sanjay, you were in different times. These are different times. You have to adjust to their times. Forget your... So we have to come up with innovative schemes. How do we move them horizontal, keep them busy? It's a challenge. It's a good challenge to have. People are committed. People like to work for my company. But point is, they don't want to do the same thing for more than 3 to 4 years. And maybe you, I, everybody, 10 saal, ek job, ek table, no problem. But the times have changed. And yeah, I would say that's my third point. Investment in people, treating people, really focusing on investing on people. They are your future. You can have great machines, great technology. Finally, if you don't have the right people to take it forward, you have an issue. That's it. You are forced to disagree. Okay.
Not to.
Yeah.
This is not my choice, but I need to present the reality outside. We are sitting in an air-conditioned 5-star hotel, very comfortably. But we saw the success yesterday went to the market, Azamgarh. So let me take you a little back into shop floors of plastic processing. What is reality in plastic processing industry? The reality is there is a huge gap between, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. There is huge gap between the consumer aspiration and what as a processor we are able to deliver. Tremendous gap. We ourselves, when we go as a consumer to market, we buy best of the stuff, best brands from all across the world. But as a manufacturer, what we are able to deliver to the market is totally different. And irrespective of that, whether we can do it or cannot do it, the fact is there is a huge gap, and that gap is putting a lot of stress onto our growth. For example, look at the gap in kind of machines that we have in our factory and kind of appliances we have in our pocket or personal use or home, huge difference. Look at the training we provide to our kids at home and the training we provide to our staff. Again, huge difference. So with that difference, we cannot grow. This all growth story, etc., looking good, but for each Astral succeeding, there are not hundreds, but thousands others who are just logging out. So it's up to us to see where do we want to fall. So this gap is real, and the gap between the need of working capital suddenly goes up by 25, 30, 40% because of the price fluctuation, and people are stuck up. There are hundreds of industry who cannot function because they have run out of their working capital, and that gap again is very real. And okay. So again, there is a huge gap between aspiration of youngsters who have option to work in a multiplex or a mall or office, and person who need to come to a plastic factory shop floor, not air conditioned, not glamorous, and we need to work there. So we are not able to attract good talent, and that's reality. So with that reality, our growth is happening more in minds than in reality. 20% market is already captured by imported goods. And the growth of imported goods, the shelf space they are able to capture on the chain shops is much higher. And this is only becoming faster. So look at this reality. We are not able to attract talent. We are not able to attract capital. We are not able to attract next generation to join our industry. And our overall equipment efficiency in plastic industry is lower than 50%. With that kind of efficient productivity, return of investment got to be just a story, a dream. So that's reality, my friends, and we need to find a way on how to face our reality. Because talking glossy things is not going to change reality. This is reality. So I think with that, and tell me, how many of you disagree with this? How many of you feel that this is not reality, my reality is different? We'll be happy to hear from you. These are UNIDO experts. Don't, please, sorry, later, but let the entrepreneur speak first. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hello. Actually, my name is Appaswamy. I have come from Chennai cluster. I own a company by name Labdup Medical Technologies Private Limited, and we started this in the year 1994. We do close to 8 crore business, and our focus, I don't agree with Jayesh, basically reason being we are in medical devices industry. I don't know about other industry. My background is I have come from electronic, then biomedical background. I'm not a plastic guy. That could be the reason. I could not be able to go bottom into your problem basically. Still, right now I'm in the medical devices industry, wherein I always look for the import substitute products, like what Astral did. I don't look for what is available. Okay? I always look for what is not available in India, what is being imported into this country. Initially, to start with, I get into trading, then I try to sell it myself. Once I know the market, I put in my money confidently, develop that product and sell it. That's what we do it. We have been quite successful identifying the niche. There are plenty of products available in this country. We are not focusing. We have to be alert. You should be aware what is happening around us. That is the reality. Okay. There are plenty of opportunities.
Thank you.
So here we have a strong case of Mr. Appaswamy, who believes that if you focus on import substitution, that is the opportunity.
Also, would want to ask, you said that the success is happening in the minds. and not in the markets. I would say, is the growth or success happening in the mind first, then it will happen in the market. Are we then dealing with a small man's mentality where he says that, okay, I have started this business, now I'm going to make a product and sell it. Do you really expect me to get into the R&D, into innovation? Because that's not what I am. So do you think then that herein lies a problem, that we are not, we are still in that mentality that I am small, I'm just starting, and probably I'm not into R&D, I'm not into innovations because probably I have to just deal with these many things. Is there a problem there in the mindset?
It's not mindset, it's reality of entrepreneur. Today, because he is not able to attract talent, he is not able to create a second level of management team, entrepreneur himself is busy for tax audit purpose or for complying with all the government requirement or running after the customer, collecting C forms when required. So there are so many things he's busy in, and if there was a question asked how many of us has R&D and nobody raised their hand, the very reason is because we all tried in our own ways, and R&D is not something which will give you result. Surely your return on investment on R&D doesn't come fast or doesn't come sure. So when people have limitation on working capital, to expect that they would put some percentage of revenue in R&D is little.
So, but the problems that we discuss are also the problems that any other industry would also be dealing with.
Can I react on that?
Yes.
First thing, I think Mr. Appaswamy gave us a nice solution. What the industry also needs is some fresh minds. Absolutely. He did not come from the plastic industry. I think that was his positive plus. But coming back to Jayesh's remark on R&D, I mean, why are we blowing up R&D like research and development? Let's break it down. Simple. What did Mr. Engineer do? Or what did Mr. Appaswamy do? Is it a form of R&D? Yeah, so don't believe R&D is you have a lab, you have a doctorate, white coat pen ke research kar raha hai. Make it simple. R&D is about research and development. Development can come first. What these guys did is there was an opportunity in the market. They saw how can they position a product which solves their problem. Yeah, with that development they made money, and maybe in future years came research. But let's not blow up R&D is something like, yeah, you need a house in Pedder Road. Yeah, it can be as simple as just understanding and exploring a need.
Okay, I'm going to ask one question to both the gentlemen. All right, 1 minute, I'll just pass it.
Just added to his point, I'm Shekhar from Flytech Engineering, Chennai Cluster Plastic Unit. See, I started as import substitution of plastic machinery spare parts for German machinery and Italian machinery, small parts. And after a few years, I transformed into full-fledged manufacture of a machinery itself. That from performance indigenization has given us a confidence that I can go for a full scale of machinery. And today we are exporter. This actually, identifying a product and other things, R&D, as you said, it's whatever available with you, what you can do. That is R&D. It's not about having a big lab and doctors.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another question as well.
Well, actually, what is wrong, what I see with the Indian entrepreneurs is that they never take the international exposures. Like K-Show is coming. You go there, look at new products, look at new technologies. And internationally, a lot of companies want to tie up, come to India. Keep approaching them. We have approached many such companies in the building segment, and now we are close to do 2 JVs. Because we cannot do all the R&Ds. We cannot develop technologies overnight. But companies want to come to India, and keep doing that, and you will get partners. It's very easy now, because a lot of people want to come here with right partners. It's small also, and it may be big also. And look at new trade fairs, especially in your segment, and you will get ideas, partners, technology from there. Please.
Mr. Engineer, can you stay, please? Can you stay? About 1 minute. About 1 minute. You know, the gentleman said that the working capital shortage is a major roadblock in front of a lot of processors to do all these things like R&D and going to the market, listening to the customer, etc. You told us in your story that you almost went bankrupt, and from there come up to now almost 1,000 crores. So what was the issue of working capital problems and how did you resolve it? Would you like to share this with?
When we went bankrupt, even our bank went bankrupt at the same time. We were with the Madhopura bank. So both of us went bankrupt together. We resolved, you have to plow in some capital, you need support. So when you go bankrupt, there is no way you can come up without somebody's support. We have two US partners who are Americans, and they supported us, and Astral is living with their support only today, which they did years back when we were on the verge of bankruptcy. So you need support at that time. Otherwise, it's tough to come out of these things. So that's how things happen.
Mr. Engineer, one question. What kind of scale you should have before you start looking for a foreign partner?
See, there are different projects. There are projects which can be do 5 crores also. We are looking at a project which is a capex of 5 crores only. You can imagine, it's not always now we are 1,000 crores company means a 50 crore or 100 crores. Because my idea is for a new product not to start with a huge thing. First import it, test it. If you succeed, go step by step. Just don't go and invest huge money and then it takes the other products take the burden out of it. And then you slowly can keep on building on it. So 5 crores, 10 crores investment, there are projects. We are going into building solutions which give waterproofing. 5 crores project, not much. So very simple project. But
sorry, no, go ahead. Are we getting the message that you're calibrating your earnings and your investments? You earn and then you invest in the business.
Yeah,
you earn and then you invest in the business.
We earn and invest back.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you.
What I would like to ask is
just 1 second.
Yes,
in
please.
fact, because it's very fresh in people's mind,
Yes.
what Mr. Engineer said now, you should go to K-Fair and try to, sort of see opportunity for yourself for growth. IPMA is taking a delegation to K-Fair, which is supported by UNIDO. And they're giving good support. And if those of you have not joined, please do so. Because there would be a UNIDO expert coming with us. Dr. Riker is traveling with us. And you have him for support. So after the event is over, and those of you who feel that going to K after all these 2 days of deliberation is making sense to them, please meet with any of us from IPMA and we'll be happy to take your name and send you details. Yeah.
And please focus out and see, because what I've seen in Indian is Sanje kya jambu, aaj Gujarati banyu chhe, chalo ayu chhe khawanu. These are the things which they are more bothered. But people have to, K is so huge, you have to identify which segment you have to target and go and focus on that. આપણે સવારે કે નાસ્તો બાંધી આવ્યા છે પેલા બપોરે ભેગા થઈશું.
Yeah, so I have one question. When you're a small-time processor, does it make sense to invest that much of your earnings in R&D? And if there is a solution where you have, say, a society or a corporate community that works for new product development, is that a possibility?
Okay, my name is Dinesh Punde. I am a small-time processor. Started in 2006, went bankrupt in 2007 to the point of selling my house. And in fact, had it not been for my wife at that point who was running the show for 2 complete years, maybe I would have committed suicide. But then it was the focus again that I needed to do this. And with a turnover of the first sale that I made was after about 26 months of my investing 72 lakh rupees in 2006. After that first sale of 2007, I have not looked, and last financial year, that is assessment year 2013-14, we made a turnover of 12 crore. Today is the last date of the first 6 months of the financial year, and we have already clocked 13 crores. I am expecting a turnover of, my target is 25 crores because I have been doubling my turnover every financial year. And this is what, when I told my bank that I was bankrupt and I paid huge interest cost. But I think somewhere it has to be in your mind. And that is what, to answer your question, that whether success has to be in mind. Yes, I personally perceive that it has to be in your mind, whatever you are doing. I don't have a product of my own. I am a processor. I supply to OEMs. But the thing is that I started broad basing since 2009. And I think that worked for me. So even it is a testing time right now, people say, but I have already crossed my turnover of last year. So today is what I have already crossed it. And I expect somewhere around 23, 24 crores this year. Thank you.
Good.
Can I add something here? Can I add something here? I think one of the other reasons is also because he is using DSM materials. But but there was a wise man. His name
No
was,
marketing is allowed here at this.
Of any kind.
there was a wise man. There was a wise man. His name was Swami Vivekananda, and he said, "First it happens in your mind, then in reality."
Right. Please.
Good evening. I am Mayappan. I am coming from Chennai cluster. Conclude. I will add upon this working capital gap. See, today we have all our accounts, everything on computer, everything. So our balance sheet, everything is ready by 31st March or whatever it is. Banks are willing to give us 20%. If you have your accounts and papers are on time, and if it is correct, you can get your working capital gap of up to 20% of your existing limit. At a notice, a simple letter to the bank. Any bank doesn't give it, you can report it to the concerned head office. 20% of your limit, you will get it overnight, you will get it. One thing. Second thing I would like to tell is, any new person who starts and is expanding, it is better to spend your current earnings to meet your new liabilities. Your current income should support your liabilities. Then you will never go bankrupt. Only when you divert your money from your working capital, all this bankruptcy comes into account. As long as your working capital in the form of stock and debtor are intact, things will not happen anything. Whatever might be the situation.
Proper cash flow management.
I will do what Rahul Gandhi did. When he saw the tide turning, I will change the side.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I want both of you to conclude. Yeah.
I have done my job. Can I sit down?
Arjuna. Sit here.
See, please understand, the reason I am talking about working capital more is because suddenly this price fluctuation, your last year turnover, you have certain facilities, and with raw material prices going up the roof, working capital requirement increases, especially for a smaller processor. It's difficult to immediately revise their working capital facility available with the bank. So the solution, yeah, but the solution that sort of we propose to some processes and which has worked is remember your core competency. People don't come to you for money, people come to you for your goods and services. So if you are offering right product with good service and ask your customer to pay in advance, believe me, it happens. It has happened with my company. 80% sale of our company is only on advance basis. Because I went to a seminar, a much smaller seminar, and I was told that it's possible to sell in against advance, which I refused to believe. So I started arguing, and he said, no, please don't argue now. You can talk to these two gentlemen who have done it and try it. And the argument was, what he was saying is, you go to any multinational company and get a rupee of credit even for a day. With thousands crores of sale, they don't need to give credit. As a small entrepreneur, why we do need to finance our buyer? Most of the cases, buyer is much bigger than us. So we don't need to finance our buyer. And moment you start asking, see, selling price of a product is in our hand. So you say my selling price is 105 rupee, but I need advance payment. You pay advance, you take 5% discount. So you get 100 rupee because you are deciding price of your product to begin with. So moment you do this, that is one working capital requirement reduces. And it's a huge burden off. And because of that, we are a zero debt company. We don't have any facility with the bank. You don't need to. And this also Infosys balance sheet. It says their debt is zero. So if Infosys can grow so big without a debt, fast growth, why do we need to be under debt? So that's another option.
So I think the last question, Bhavna.
Yeah, we have a young entrepreneur here who would like to.
We have to.
My name is Nirmal. I am from the Ahmedabad cluster. I beg to differ with what the gentleman just said. You said that if the balance sheet figures are ready, then the bank is willing to lend 20% over and above your existing working capital. I approached my bank and they said without arranging for collateral and personal guarantees, they were not in a position to entertain my request. Yes. Okay. Otherwise, beyond 1 crore, I think we are already going 1 crore, so collateral is required.
You want to collect the name of the bankers today?
Yeah, I think.
This is a problem that we are facing.
Can we please listen to the UNIDO
good,
expert?
Good
because
know-how of
each one of them
the bankers
has the experience of 20 industry clusters. So I think
Mr. Ramya, before that, we'll get a question, opinion from here.
Hello, my name is Harsh. I am from Oswin Plastics, Mumbai cluster. I would like to divert. My question is regarding manpower and building a team in the organization. Now we are an SME, so we have a very little workforce in our office. So what happens is our workforce is quite old. So the salaries that we pay to them, or whatever it is at a lower rate. Now if we recruit someone new into our office, and the workforce, I mean, they ask for more salary. So it becomes difficult to recruit them, and it becomes difficult to make our old people understand how to do it. So how do we build a team in this time?
It's an ironical situation where a young entrepreneur is talking about an aging workforce.
True.
Businessman, yeah? So, if I was in your position, I will do a business case. If I believe that even after normalizing everybody to the new salary base, if I can get more output from them, or I can keep my force more motivated, then I think I will go for it. When I mentioned point about exploiting manpower, I didn't want to say it direct, but that's exactly what I meant. If we get what we pay.
No, I would like to contradict. We are not exploiting manpower. The thing is, when you recruit freshers and you have an old workforce.
No, I fully understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So when you recruit a fresher, they say that he's just a fresher. He does not have an experience. We have been working with you for the last 6-7 years, and you have been paying us, say, around some amount, X amount. And a fresher who's just joined in, maybe he must have got a good qualification, but he's just a fresher into the industry, and you are paying them X+1. So how do you tackle that? And what happens is, if you recruit him in one department, we are an SME, so there are not much departments. So one department is related to another department. So all the workforce will come to us and say that you are hiring someone new without an experience, and you are paying him so much, and you are paying us so less. So how do you do that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. You are talking about paying right to a newcomer. I'm telling you about not paying right or underpaying the guys you have for 7 years.
No, but it doesn't.
No, wait, मैं बात समझ रहा हूँ. What I'm talking about, 7 years who have worked for you, who have been loyal to you, and you have underpaid them. And that's what I call about exploitation.
No, that is not underpaid. The thing is, when you want to hire a fresher.
Boss, if you are saying underpaid, when you are taking a new guy who might be a bit more qualified and you are paying him something, you might not be paying him out of the market. You are paying at the market.
Right. What I think he's trying to say is you need to stick to industry norms of salary. As the inflation rises and as standard of living rises, I'm guessing you have to bring in that kind of changes in your salary
the thing
systems
is, we are paying the people in our company as per the industrial standards, whatever the price is right now, or maybe higher also. But today's workforce, due to lack of manpower, what happens is, if I'm not paying him so much, whatever he asks me, he'll say that the next company next door is available for me. So what do you do over there? That is what I'm saying. I'm not paying
Sanjay.
below someone, below par.
Mike.
Yeah. No, I fully understand what you're saying. The point is, you made good money for 6-7 years. Now it's time for you to normalize.
Sanjay, I'll take this question. I'll just give you some example. Maybe you can think in those terms. You know, in the Tata Group, when I was working for the Tatas as CEO in TACO, we had companies which were from 10 crores to, 10,000 crores. And the salaries used to differ in all these companies from, as a GET, in the smaller companies, we used to pay, let's say, 1.2 lakhs or 1.8 lakhs as starting. Whereas in companies like TCS and all, the starting salary was around 2.3 to 2.4 crores. So what we did in the Tata Group was, we created work levels where we sort of mapped equivalent positions to equivalent companies. For example, for a 5 crore company, the CEO of a 5 crore company is equivalent to the department manager of a TCS where he manages around 10 to 15 crores. So if, depending on the size of your company, if you can equate to a similar company and do this type of work level benchmarking, instead of going for salaries, you look at the work levels or responsibilities that they are handling, probably you will be able to meet it in a much better way.
No, but the basic mentality of people is like, why are you paying a fresher?
No, so your argument is more on the business that they generate, the business that they are into, and the work that they are doing, the responsibility that they are taking to the amount of, to the size of the company that you are working in. So that's a good level playing field to create these work levels to do the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's a good matrix to follow, and I think we need to get into the next session. If you quickly need to add, just add the last, you need to add something? Shweta, because
a few people want to add something.
Last input.
This is going to be the last input. I'm sure you all can mingle and network at the evening and share all your insights.
Myself Jatin Shah from Ahmedabad cluster UNIDO. Same problem we faced around 2 years ago. What we did, we thought that we were giving the increment every year. Instead of that, giving an increment after 3 months. We make a policy, clear policy chart, skill metrics of the workers and the office staffs and all the persons. Their salary will be depends on their skills. We evaluate their skills after 3 months and they give the rise according to the percentage factors decided on this policy. Secondly, for recruitment of the new person, we give the training, 1 year training contract to the new freshers. This is a training contract. We give you the salary as your demand after 1 year, but for that you have to work and learn in our industries how we run our industries, what is the problem we are facing and how to solve the problems. If you completed 1 year, we will give you the difference of the salary plus your demand as you have desire.
Yeah, I think we have to stop it here and get into another mode. Gentlemen at the back, we still have time. The whole evening is ours, and so the next, yes, a round of applause. The next big question is, are the processors tech ready? Is going to be represented by Dr. Sheth and Mr. Bhartiya. Reality versus projection, how should processors gain tech edge is what Dr. Subhash Chandra Sheth is going to point out. And perceptions versus adoption, how do processors view technology adoption is what Mr. C.P. Bhartiya is going to represent about. So I think first, also in your presentation, sir, Dr. Sheth, you mentioned about the technologies and how the processors or our industry may not be knowing or may not be adopting the technologies. So rather than telling us about what kind of technologies we have, tell us the 3 or 4 critical points which are hampering the adoption of technology. And these are the aspects, probably the mindset, probably the finance part of it, rather than mentioning the technologies. And you will take it later.
Yeah.
As we believe in the technology, today evening we are here. During my presentation, I talked about different kind of technology which is required at the present generation to compete. I have 5 aspirant points, but out of the 5, I'll be going for only 3, which is I could feel is vital in the present situation. One is technology life cycle. Second one is mold development by rapid heat cooling. And third one is additive manufacturing. These 3 core areas, if our industry brothers believe that they should really adopt this sort of classics technology for bringing change in the industries and compete in the plastics market, I think that will be a good symbol for progress for the entire plastic community. So I putting the point on to Mr. Bhartiya, whether anybody can discuss on these points, he can discuss on this point further and ask questions from the participants in favor or in disfavor, because these points I elaborately discussed during my presentation, so I will not be going further more. Please.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Yeah, I am C.P. Bhartiya. I represent Bhubaneswar cluster. I am a processor. I would put it like this. To adopt a technology, there is a high investment cost in adopting a new technology. There are about 50,000 processors, as in the morning said, but I believe out of 50,000, there are 90% MSMEs. And as Jayesh Bhai has mentioned, most of them are facing working capital problem. Then how they are going to invest in the new technology? Then the cost of labor is cheaper than adopting a technology. If I go for an automation, I would better use a cheaper labor to load a truck instead of using a robot, as Mr. Engineer has mentioned in the morning. Then I would put second point, why should I invest in the technology? There is no motivation to invest in it. Most of us are a small time processor, 30, 50 crores rupees, 100 crore rupees. There is no motivation from government or from anybody to upgrade it. Our sizes are small and we work in a smaller environment, unlike China. Then we don't have any perception of a newer technology. We are not exposed to that. We are into traditional family business where the major sales are into older generation, and with newer generation don't have much to say at times. And every time technology necessary does not mean ease of function. and saving in cost also. And most important point, as also mentioned Dr. Gore, that by 2020, we would be needing about 70,000 more machines. And that many machines are already running at the moment. We don't have adequate technology here of today's generation. China alone consumes 65,000 machinery every year. If I talk about the machine manufacturers here, they give us not many options. They give one or two kinds of machine, and if we have to take a new technology, then I have to look at either US, Europe, or China. One company alone in China has manufactured 30,000 injection molding machine last year, and into different kinds of technology. Do we have that here? The delivery of local manufacturer, when you order a machine, it takes 6 months, 8 months. It's not about bigger machine. I'm talking about smaller equipment also. I have traveled across China many times. So far as accessories are concerned, in my company, I have ordered plastic auxiliary machines here. The delivery period had not been less than 3 to 5 months. And when you go to China, I have got pictures, you find them on the shelf. Be it your mixture, be it a forklift, or for anything, just outside lying on the floor outside their shop. Then last, because there are many points, this will open so many questions. Market competition does not give advantage to edge better technology. We are rural India, still a rural India. Cheaper products sells more here. Why do I adopt a new technology? I can work with 20 years old machine. Why do I need to bring new servo-controlled microprocessor operated injection molding machine, which cost me say ₹1 crore when I am happy with 20 years, 10 lakhs rupees invested machine? I might be doing 80% or 70% or 50% of productivity. I have no incentive to grow for that. Relatively poor quality of products are easily sold. You keep two products even in urban market, except in a posh locality, it is easier to sell cheaper product. I'll tell a story. There was a company, it may be a fake story also. There is a company in Japan who produced soap case, and the soap was to be kept inside. In the assembly line, the soap case used to come, then on the other side the soaps were filled, then packed, and it was going packed and dispatched. They received market complaints that in some of the boxes, soaps were missing. A brainstorming session, what to do? They invested $60,000 to put an X-ray machine on the line. When they found some boxes not having soaps, they just eliminated from the line. The same thing happened in India. What happened? I can say in Ulhasnagar. Then what happened? Simply put a fan. When the product going, the empty box will fly away. So this is the kind of mentality we have. Now it's open to you. This is what my perception.
Yeah. I think it's a good case of jugaad, as we all know. A fan at the end of your line.
No, so that's exactly what the technology is about. But I would beg to differ with you in terms of technology. But let me qualify the ground reality first. It's very unfortunate that in India, most of the competition happens on price. If there are two manufacturers, first they will compete on price rather than quality, service, etc., etc. And second thing is that it's just a question of time that the consumer will start demanding quality. And you cannot give quality unless you provide technology in processing. So that's the reason why you cannot ignore completely. I agree that at current prices, maybe it is not viable, but you still probably need to do continual changes in your processing, which amounts to, some improvements.
Save 40% of electricity. So whatever extra that you are spending will be able to recover within a year. So it is not costly. Technology is not always costly. It is worth investing in, because one side, India has huge power shortage, and because of power cut, machines are remaining closed half the time. Without sprue picker robot, in April and May, thousands of injection molding machines don't work because of labor shortage during the night shift. So unless you have sprue picker, even if you have a great machine which is costing 15 lakh rupees, but without a sprue picker which is costing you another perhaps 2 lakh rupee, it's not going to work in demand months. So there is no option, but we got to be technological ready. I think that there is no other option. And one more thing, when earlier the buyers used to see your product and see your price, nowadays buyers have started coming to your factories and see your machines. They have started asking what is the average age of your machine. Now those kind of buyers who have bulk buying capacity, unless you have a good looking factory, they will not buy from you.
My name is Jay, and pardon me if actually because I don't have experience as all of you, but I just have 2 years experience right now, and I had also gone to China and I visited companies over there. I just don't get the fact that why do we people only look at that technology is only microprocessors, PLCs and all, because as Indian system is there, jugaad is also a technology. No one else thinks like we can do it, just put a knife over there and cut it. Today, I went to some factories in China, and I was actually fortunate to see that many of them actually use jugaad. They display something else, and they make a new technology somewhere else. As in, like, just put a knife. That's a technology. That is what you develop. So why do we have to invest so much, as in micro PLC and processors and all, with just with one spike it gets blown up and we are again nowhere. So why don't we think in that area, as in just raw machines, just raw equipment that we are actually very famous for before.
Do I have to respond to that?
If I interfere. Practices of the industrial culture. Industrial culture generate innovation, good manpower. Even in your factory you can also generate good manpower by creating a new kind of environment, a dynamics capability, what we call. If that dynamics capabilities by your effort can be generated, like in every industries, can you think of not only training institute can provide manpower to the industry, you can also provide better manpower to the industries by inviting this sort of culture or investing this sort of small investment for generation of skill, generation of slight change as we discussed, maybe weight change of your product to half of that product. So if that sort of things, not in terms of microprocessor or computer or other thing, a very simple change can bring change to your situation. If that is practiced, I think that is the dynamics capability. You will be surviving, everybody else also will be surviving. I wanted to mean that is the change we want to look for. Thank you very much.
Hello. As you said about using one machine which is 10 years old, you're right. It gives a lower quality, yes.
Not lower quality, lower productivity.
Lower productivity, but also quality may be lower.
Yeah.
It sells at a slightly less price. But at that price, the quantity requirement in the market is much higher, which you don't increase. Means you remain at only one machine. You are not bringing new machines. Because all machines you can't have 10 years old. You have to expand to cater to the market level, which you are not seeing. I have an actual case. When I started, we started with manufacturing PVC tubes, flexible ones. It was the year 77. At that time, PVC was market was on, means the price availability of market for PVC for me was approximately almost 50% higher to my esteemed competitor. He had a machine from Windsor, which was the trademark. I had a machine which was just, means my total paraphernalia, including my house, should have been less than the cost of his one machine. And he has a battery of machines. Plus, there was a quota for CPW also at that time. I hope most of the people must be knowing CPW. Today it is chlorinated paraffin oil. At that time it was chlorinated paraffin wax. At that time, chlorinated paraffin oil was just introduced. I got a small literature from Germany, from somebody, which showed that at the rate when chlorination is 52%, the chlorinated paraffin oil is not a secondary plasticizer, but it becomes a primary plasticizer. I discussed it with the manufacturer of chlorinated paraffin oil. He told me, I'll give you 52%. Most of the people want 40%, because 40% was the chlorination for chlorinated paraffin wax, which was also in black. So I had two disadvantages, or rather three. My machine was bad. Resin, I had to give premium. The CPW also was not available to me. So we experimented with the chlorinated paraffin oil, and by trial and error, our production was much higher than the Windsor machine. And after 6 months of our trials, we had a competition with the esteemed competitor. In 1 week, the price of tubing went from 16 rupees to 9 rupees. At that time, the esteemed competitor said, he is a pagal. And we sold volumes. We sold even 200, 250 tons per month. And we became the brand for all over India. So you can, means with the worst of the machinery also, if you apply something, you can do something.
I would like to, sorry, I am Anil here. I would like to just add 2 points. One is, I'll stand. Okay. One is with respect to technology. When I made the solution which is called the veg wash. It was more an idea that you have a solution to wash vegetables. You know that these are products, vegetables or fruits. Like on apples, you have the wax which is there. It was more an idea where we said that let's do some R&D and make some product. And it did not cost me much here. I think it was, I paid maybe around 75,000-80,000 to my consultant, and he actually made this product. And now I have this product going all over India. So the importance should be given more to the idea or the thinking than to the investment that you do in technology, because it really gains in a very high way. Then I also like the point which you made about jugaad or frugal engineering. I feel that in India the talent is really very good, and instead of just copying things, if we start doing ourselves, or I'm not saying you spend 5% on R&D, but at least you and me, few of us can actually come together. That's why I'm saying, how do we connect? Like if all of us sit together and brainstorm an idea, I'm sure we'll get 2-3 ideas by which we can create products which we can commercialize. So we should use these opportunities to do that, and create these types of things where Indian mind is really very strong. And I really feel that you don't need lot of investments for bringing technology. And all doctor, whatever he mentioned in his presentation, which was quite a long presentation, everywhere it moved towards reducing cost. So any waste which is removed from any system is always an advantage. So even when DSM spends 5% in their R&D, it is not to create a very expensive product. Their work is always to bring lower cost products so that it can be used by everyone. So we should not link the investment to the technology. That is one. Second is, as we said, leap. I think we should always be hungry for growth, not being satisfied with just one machine. Otherwise, this leap does not make any sense. So we should always look forward. We should look at growth, and that's it.
Yes,
Thanks.
absolutely. I think leap is the underlying tone for the evening. I just have one question for everybody in this room. When you're talking about conditions being bad, economic situation being bad, isn't this the best time to be investing in technology? Attack the market when it's vulnerable. Does everybody unanimously agree on this, or?
Saraj, I'm Jagdish from Mitsukem Private Limited. I don't agree to Mr. Karbelkar's idea. I believe in technology, and it reduces cost also. We are into blow molding and injection molding products. So we have adopted many new technology. We have adopted small. It is small, but it plays major role. We have installed servo motors on blow molding machines. So I got 20% power saving. And one thing, we have installed chilled water to blow molding. Totally we have all blow molding machines is connected to chilled water. So I got production increased by 17%. And third thing we have done is we have variable frequency drive to all extruder motors, which also gave me the 17% energy saving. Install thermostat to cooling tower fan motor, which is very small. No one thinks. You must have seen we use for 5 HP 100 TR cooling tower. 5 HP motor is installed on the top of the fan. It runs 24 hours, irrespective of any weather. But we have installed one controller. Cost is 8,500, but it saves 250 rupees per day, because small thing. We have installed, we have shop floor. Conventionally, we use around 150 or 250 halogen lamp. We have installed LED halogen lamps, this high bay of 55 watts only, against the 150 watts totally, we have saved around, yearly I am saving 1 lakh rupees on total power lighting bill cost. So, and one more, install Parisian control on total all blow molding machines, which reduces my flash 20%. So it is indirectly reduces my power cost. So we should invest on technology. So long way it will pay off.
I think we have to also get into. Yes, I will give you a chance to speak. I think we've brought in a lot of problems, but what we are also brought in a lot of solutions. So being true to this industry, we will not have a panel discussion because we have been getting the solutions. But also remember that tomorrow's session is also going to be there, and the evening session is awaited. So we'll have to, we were to end at 4:30, we are already at 5:10. So we have last 5 minutes where it will require your comment, conclusion, and probably, okay, you can get your comment.
Yeah, actually, since last 20 minutes I am saying that I am having a tiring time, then I must remove this. This negative.
Let's remove this.
There is a general consensus that we should adopt the technology. In fact, in my unit I have adopted various technologies, and certainly with the intervention of the UNIDO also, and we have been able to save a lot of money, improve our quality, improve our productivity. In fact, through UNIDO's intervention, we had a German expert in our unit, and he's again going to help me in K13, I'm sorry, for particularly in PET technology. And in the recent national competition for Kaizen organized by CI at Calcutta, our company out of 3, we bagged 2 awards for Kaizen improvements. So in fact, I was here I was forced to be here to be on the other side to take out your perception, to prove my perception wrong. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Close this session because I think it was really going very well. It was very vibrant, a lot of issues, a lot of people gave their own experiences. I think we got a lot of insight into the whole industry and various issues involved. I wish we had another 1 hour more that we could have really gone into the depth of the issue. But as I said, there has to be a timeline on everything. At the beginning, I would like to all of you to join me in applauding our 4 panelists for a wonderful job they have done. They were really the bung Salman Khan that Mr. Engineer introduced us, because each one was given a role to play. And as he said, he was given a negative role to play, so he had to speak against his own convictions. Absolutely. But thank you very much for doing. I think all of you did a great job.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Once again.
And some announcements, please. Yes.
I will quickly conclude to say that it is very clear that there are issues on all aspects of business, issues on all aspects of entrepreneurship, issues in all aspects of leadership. We can talk about issues of working capital shortage, gap between what the consumer wants and what we can deliver. We can talk about technology, what kind of technology, what it means to different people. We saw also that technology meant different things to different people. Is technology costly? Is it cost saving? Should R&D be our forte? As small companies, how can we handle so many diverse issues? We also had previously the 2 presentations, one from an extreme multinational company that presents a very different point of view about how to manage an innovative enterprise, and we had a small Indian entrepreneur coming up from nowhere to the big league of 1,000 crore plus, utilizing his own entrepreneurial capabilities. So we saw it all in this last 3 hours, and sitting there, Archana and I both we are not insiders of plastic industry. Although by now, we now feel we know enough to be the insiders, but still we are not insiders of the, but we felt, and we have attended LEAP 1, we have attended many such similar workshops. And the question I asked myself was, what was so specific about the plastic industry in all these questions that I just now narrated? These are not plastic industry specific issues. These are affecting all the industries in India. They may be size specific, small, medium enterprises, but they are not plastic industry specific. There are industries with extremely high material cost, low, what would you say, low conversion costs or low value addition. There are many, many such examples, but there are stories that in the same businesses, with the same constraints, people have made a success out of that. Innovation, process efficiency, a market savvy approach, branding. We covered a very wide spectrum of issues. No doubt that there is a large agenda in front of all of us. Therefore, I would like to conclude by saying that we may not have found solutions for everything to say, okay, do this for that and do this for this. But I think identification of the issues itself, flagging of the issues itself is a very major step forward. And I think we heard also a lot of issues with regard to banking facilities and interest rates and collaterals, etc. So I think it was a very vibrant discussion, very useful discussion. This is not the end of it. We should continue this debate, maybe carry it forward in various forums of IPMA. So once again, with these words, can I, on behalf of all of you, once again thank our panelists for a wonderful role play. Thank you so much.